These cigarettes, do you call them? They taste wonderful. We haven't got a thing like this on Mars.
Making our food out of people. Next thing they'll be breeding us like cattle for food. You gotta tell them. You gotta tell them.
What is up? What is up, everybody? Hopefully you can hear me fine. Welcome to Reality Decoded, this latest installment brought from you courtesy of Shit Video Productions, and this evening's title is Escape from Toronto. Welcome, Zahara, my sweet. I was just chatting to you before I did the stream. Almal, Glynis, and Joe. I'm saying we've got 2 people watching, but I can see at least 4 in the chat. Big changes, guys. Let me get rid of the thumbnail, and almost immediately you will realize it is very dark. You can't really see. The studio's gone. Toronto's gone. Canada's gone. Unless you don't know, guys, in the last few hours, I exited Canada and I'm now residing in Cancun, Mexico. Yes, I'm in Mexico. I'll show you out the door, though it's probably a little bit too dark to see anything. Can you hear me okay? I hope you can. Yes, too dark. You can't see shit out there. Sorry, guys. As I said, it has been an absolutely hectic 30 hours for me. As I said, excuse the darkness. I don't got studio lights. I don't got any of the familiarities that were once part of the thrift store studio. Was once familiar to you all, and I'm a little bit sort of woo way. I don't know where I am or what time zone I'm in. Exactly. Busy, stressful couple of days. I'll try to fill you in. As I said, I've had very little sleep, almost nothing to eat in the last couple of days. And finally, I'm out of Toronto, Canada, which was becoming to be a little bit of a stagnant oasis in some ways. There was nothing really going on. The chances and prospects of work, the expenses of trying to keep alive without an income was just getting too much to cope with there. And this isn't a vacation. This isn't, hey, I'm doing something for my 50th birthday, which also happened 2 days ago, 1 day ago, the 29th. I turned 50 years old, and the 30th of July, early hours of the morning, Canadian time, I made my exit. Flew out from Pearson, and I'm going to share that story with you now. Oh my goodness, all points of fictional references got put into play. Stress, border security services. Oh my God, lots of stuff happened, and it was almost at a point I was about to bail before I got on the plane. I had a very bad feeling, thought, let's get the fuck out of here. But I stuck through it. I had to mask up, had to play the part of being a concerned hand sanitizer type person, blending in wolf in sheep's clothing and all of that. So as I said, guys, my feet really are not on the ground. At the minute, I'm still very discombobulated with where I am. Days. I've always associated, yeah, it is gonna get very weird. Elmel, as I said, we were so very familiar. Like Canada, Toronto was my home for 9 years. And even sort of in the sort of last minutes of sort of getting ready to exit, I'm like, do I really want to do this? But you know, during the winter months, if someone said, do you want to live in a tropical climate all day, every day, that is being taken as the choice. Welcome, Andrea. Glad to see you sneak in. But as I said, guys, the last 30 hours, I've gone from Toronto, Canada to Cancun, Mexico. What a wild ride that was. Before I do try and explain what's been going on, again, there's no presentation and nothing tonight, guys. I really am just been here a few hours. I did get a little bit of sleep because I didn't sleep for a couple of days. After I did arrive, I'm a little bit fresher now, but not quite fully operational to the normal standard of shit video predictions. Glynis, my darling, I did get your gift, and I'm almost heartbroken to tell you I had to leave the majority of it behind. And I hate the fact that you went to so much trouble and I had to do it, and I was trying to sort of eat as much trail mix as I could. I do got a little video that I made quickly that I might try and show you. I don't know what phone it is on at the moment, but yes, thank you, Glynis. My heart goes out to you as always for the kindness and generosity and thoughtfulness of your care packages. But I did find that on my doorstep in Toronto a couple of days ago, but it was kind of in the last few hours that I was in Toronto. I was actually sort of packing up and finalizing my exit plans on my birthday, so it wasn't exactly celebration or enjoying myself. In fact, it was very stressful. But Glynis, if it is any consolation, I did smoke all the weed and drink all the liquor, but unfortunately things like nuts, cans, that kind of stuff I can't really take with me. I did grab a couple of the protein bars and stuck in my backpack that did get me through the journey. But yes, I did get it. Thank you so much. There is a little video, I think it is on my phone, once I get myself back on the ground in a little bit more situated, I will bring that to you. So that was actually the only gift I had to open on my birthday. But as I said, I was preparing my exit plans, and I did sort of have intention to do a little bit of a stream on my birthday to let you know what was going on, but everything sort of accumulated all at the same time. And as I said, sort of about midnight on Friday morning, Thursday night, midnight, the 30th of July, I packed up my bag and left Roger's dingy little basement for good and headed to the airport. And my flight was at 8:15 Friday morning. It's Saturday morning now, I believe, midnight Central Time. I'm on Central Time. Texans as well. You're like my neighbor. Like Texas is just up there somewhere. For the time being, welcome, Laurie. When did you sneak in? Yeah, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be here in Mexico. I don't know if I'm going to do a little bit of traveling or see what's going on. Maybe down in Belize, I can get a bus. It's 8 hours on the bus, $40. I can get to Belize City, but due to the fact there's so much travel restrictions in sort of some places have requirements, some don't. That is why I come to Mexico. No requirements whatsoever to get it. You don't need proof of a clear COVID jab. You don't need any vaccination. You don't got to quarantine. And for the most part, in the area that I've been in, I'm not seeing an awful lot of masks. Although I did go into a 7-Eleven Circle K type 0XX0 franchise, and they were terrified that I didn't have a mask on, and were sort of saying all sorts of kind of things in Spanish, which I understood the curse words. Lucky enough, yeah, it's 12:38 here. Also in Cancun, Mexico. And it does, the freedom, Zahara, it really, for me, it's 16 months without work in Toronto, Canada. One of the most expensive cities in North America to live in, certainly one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive city in Canada. And trying to sort of pay bills when you've got no income coming in, it really, really is a struggle. And some of you may know I've always sort of had sort of plans and intentions to get myself to the tropics, somewhere warmer, somewhere where the cost of living is cheaper, and that will sort of provide a better survival chance. Again, not having to worry about winters and things. If you did have to bounce, go out on the road, bug out, living in a tropical climate, your survival is going to be a little bit easier than dealing with frigid temperatures there. But as I said, my flight was 8:15 yesterday morning, so my sort of intentions was, it's such a stupid time, I'm not going to be sleeping anyway. Rather than sort of try to force myself to sleep, then get up in the sort of stupid hours of the morning and try and get to the airport for 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. to allow for the check-in and all that kind of stuff takes so long these days. It is unbelievable. You still got me. I've got an internet connection, unstable thing here. As I said, I'm using the bed and breakfast that I'm staying at, Wi-Fi at the minute. I got to go and get myself cell phone coverage, all that thing. But as I said, I've only been here a couple of hours. But my flight was at 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday, so I figured, you know what, let's just go to the airport. It's sort of midnight, 1 o'clock. At least I'm there. I can go, I can check in my bag, I can even lie down and have a little sleep in the departure lounge, which was my intentions. However, when I sort of arrived at the airport, they were just shutting up the baggage, so I couldn't check my bag. They said, oh, there's not going to be anyone here for a few hours. So I ended up having to wait, doing nothing at Toronto Pearson for almost 6 hours, which was, sat outside and smoked as much as I could until I couldn't smoke anymore. But it was very, very strange, very surreal, because there's like almost nobody in the airport, no staff, very, very few travelers. But unfortunately, as I said, my intention was to come, get all my stuff checked in, and then just sit around, relax, try and be as calm as I could before I finally got on the plane. Some of you will be aware, hopefully you remember, I was undocumented in Canada, so making an exit when you're in that situation is all the more risky, with all the ridiculous requirements you have to go through. So it was a stressful situation before it even started, just all the possibilities of all the things that could go wrong. Cali Ninja, welcome. No, I'm in Mexico, Cali Ninja. I'm in Cancun. Welcome, Bamboo. Glad to see you. Once upon a time, I used to dream of going southwest back to Cali. Now California's northwest for me, people. But the whole flight thing started to become like, sort of, the longer I was at the airport, the tired I was getting, the more stressful it got, and I started to get the impression in my head, a little bit of paranoia, a little bit of worry. I'd fucking eaten so many edibles as well. It was quite a worrying sort of situation to be in, because I went and I checked my bag, and then all of a sudden my bag was too heavy. I ended up having to pay $200 to ship my bag. Then when they gave me my boarding pass, I went to the gate, and they said, oh, you need to write a code on your boarding pass. You can't come through unless they wrote the code. I said, well, the girl just like checked me in. She didn't say anything about a code. So 3 times I had to go back and go through a line up, wait at a baggage claim, get my boarding pass finally with this code so that I could go through. And actually get to, you know, the passport check, and when they do the scans, make sure you've got no contraband or weaponry or stuff in you. And I was wearing a pair of cargo pants which have metal poppers. They scanned me 3 fucking times, right? And it was almost like they're gonna drag me off in fucking strip search me at the minute. And they're like, what's under your pants? Have you got any weapons? Pull your pants up, pull your pants down, lift your shirt up. And they were going over me with the wand, and like, I'm like, dude, I'm in like fucking flip-flops and shorts. There's nothing here. Like, literally pulled my shorts right up, pulled them down, let them look in my waistband. And the guy was literally like feeling me up in that, like, he wasn't shy about putting his hands on my junk, which was a little bit like, should I be reporting this sexual abuse? But again, didn't want to draw attention to myself, so I kind of went the opposite to my sort of, you know, I don't really think you need to wear a mask, hand sanitizing, all that kind of stuff. Vaccines, up to you. I don't think it's necessary. If you want to get it, you know, as I said, that's freedom of choice. But to play the part, I had 2 masks on. I was fucking always hand sanitized. I was even going to get like a visor. And this is one of the, all of a sudden when I was at the airport and I had the masks on, the realization come in, this is fucking Star Wars, yo. This is the fucking Death Star when Han Solo and Luke Skywalker went to rescue Princess Leia. They put the masks of the stormtroopers in. If they'd like bounced out of the Millennium Falcon, hey, I'm Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, they'd have probably got taken down before they even got to the detention center. So in my mind, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Let's use the Force to get me through this. So I had my masks on. I was sanitizing all the time, and you know, every now and then, like, you get the little stewardess and hostesses come around with bags of wet hand napkins and little bottles of hand sanitizers. Like, is it possible to get some more? Thank you. Oh, you can never be too safe. And I also pulled a little bit of a Niles from Frasier. I don't know if you can remember that show. It was one of my favourite shows, actually. Sort of, it doesn't get mentioned as much as Seinfeld, but was one of my favourite comedies from back in the day. In Niles, with his OCDs and his hands cleaning, so the whole fucking time on the plane, can I get more hand sanitizer, please? I thought, if you're going to make me uncomfortable, you're going to fucking be even more uncomfortable. All that shit that I learned in the service industry when I was chefing in people. I'd like a Caesar salad, but instead of lettuce, could I get spinach? Instead of Caesar dressing, could I get ranch? Instead of croutons, could I get figs? It's not really a Caesar salad anymore, but all that kind of pretentious sort of annoying shit that I put up with in the service industry, I pulled on and used that to be the most annoying customer you could imagine in terms of safety. And it's the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? If I went in there, oh, I'm not wearing a mask, it's my rights, then that's drawing attention to myself. I didn't want any attention drawn to myself because of my situation, my predicament in Canada. All I needed was the border services to come and start questioning me, and that shit would have got shut down. Shouting at Clouds, how are you? How are you? Good to see you. Are you a new time viewer, or are you someone that changed your name, excuse me, if I'm not paying as much attention to the chat at the minute. As I said, guys, it's been a crazy day. I don't really know exactly where I am, although I do know where I am. So I certainly played the part of the worried, concerned COVID masker throughout the journey, the whole way. And again, you guys probably don't realize that when you're an undocumented individual trying to leave the country that you're undocumented in, being able to wear a mask and walk around an airport with your hat down like this, incognito. Oh my goodness, it was like, yes, I felt like, what's his name, Frodo with the invisibility cloak over there. But, you know, sometimes the mask can be used for an advantage. So anyway, I got myself finally through, and this was the moment of dread for me, getting through passport control, and all I just wanted to do was walk through, and the more I was trying to do it, they were scanning me. Oh, why are you pinging the machine? Get back in the machine, hold your hands up. And this, like my heart, I was close to having a heart attack at that moment. Had I not had so much marijuana and edibles in my system, I probably would have. That was the only thing keeping me calm. But the stress value levels at this point were like, holy shit, any minute now, fucking they're gonna drag me off to search me. Once that happens, it's over. Luckily, as you know, I'm here. After 3-4 attempts of them scanning me, the guy patted me down. He goes, you know what, you're good. It's just your poppers on your cargo pants. So obviously, you know, they kind of have to be safe in case anybody is taking unwanted sort of things on to aircraft. But then when I got onto the aircraft, my seat was the very, very back row in the corner next to the window, which doesn't bother me. I kind of like that. I could sort of crouch down. But this is when it went very, very Seinfeld, folks. Because I'm looking at sort of all the passengers getting on, you know, if you've been on a plane, you know the deal when people are boarding. And then these two girls started walking. They were huge. I'm not going to lie. They were quite large ladies. And they were so large, in fact, that the stewardess had to give them the extra bit to put on the seatbelt because it wouldn't fit them. Again, small little plane, 3 seats. The two largest passengers on the plane sandwiched me in my little corner. Luckily, it was only a 3.5 hour flight, so it wasn't like I was sort of trapped there. Turns out they were actually very, very sweet, and they helped me fill in some forms. But I'm like, oh my goodness, why is it always the case when you're in a crowded flight? And it was, you know, they kept saying the flight's full, the flight's full. We might even have to like remove some baggage if you want to volunteer to have your baggage removed. Canada will ship it to you free. But these two large girls are walking down the aisle, and you know, when you're at the back of the plane, you can see everybody. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna sit next to me. They really are gonna sit next to me, and they really, really did. But before I did get in the plane, I finally got myself to the departure lounge. I thought, finally I can relax. But there was like the length of all going through with the passes. I had to go back 3 times to get my pass checked and corrected. They had to give me a new boarding pass in the end. And bearing in mind I went there early, so all of this wouldn't have been an issue. It was like backfiring on me, and this is where the panic comes in. I goes, oh my God, I planned everything and everything's going against the plan. And you know, this is things, sometimes you can't always plan for every eventuality. But finally I was in the departure, and I thought, that's it. All I need to do is get on the plane now. I'm through the worst of it. But out the corner of my eye, I caught 4 border service people walking around, and lo and behold, they walked to the counter, the check-in counter, and walked behind. And you know, like you go down those little tunnels to get onto the plane, they set themselves up there, and I could see them looking at files, and some of them had a clipboard, and they were going like this and talking, and then they started putting their gloves on and sort of taking their belts. All of a sudden, back to the fucking check-in, I'm like, holy fucking shit, they're here for me. They're here for me. They know that I'm trying to get out. The minute I try to get on that plane, they're going to drag my arm and pull me over. So at this point, I had a t-shirt in my bag. I had a different baseball cap in my shirt bag. I ran to the toilet and I changed my clothes, and again swapped my mask. I had a black and a white mask, so I swapped the masks over, swapped the hats, put the t-shirt on, went back, and as they were boarding people, I was watching these like kind of border security guards like sort of stop people and question them, and I'm like, oh my god, I just don't want to have to speak to fucking border services. This is like the close but no cigar, and this is the point. I'm like, shall I just leave? This is like, up until now I've had so much stress, and this for me seemed to be like the nail in the coffin. But as I said, the whole time that I was waiting to check in, and lucky because I was at the very end of the plane, I was one of the last people to get called to check in. And the whole time my heart was just, and I'm like, oh my god, no, this is it. And I've been through that. I've had the worst experience. You know, I got deported in the States. I got held up by Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. I was locked up. I went to maximum security. I went to an immigration prison. That is the worst immigration. You know, that is the gold standard of immigration experiences, in the worst case scenario reference. So all I wanted to do was avoid this. And the minute my heart was sinking, I was almost in tears. I'm like, no, 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 no. But as I said, I went, changed in my t-shirt, changed my hat, changed my masks around, put my head down and walked past them. In my heart was stopping. I'm like, any minute now, they're going to call my name. They're going to pull my shoulder. Can you come to the side for a second? And there was even a border, like sort of below, you know, where the plane is, there was a border service, like SUV. And I'm like, that's there to take me away. And literally as I walked past, I just keep my head down, waiting for that moment that they grab you. And again, it sounds a little bit paranoid, but I have been through that. I was undocumented. The last thing an undocumented person wants to see at the airport, I'm sure you agree, is border services. Lucky enough, they were checking people with duty free to make sure that people hadn't bought more than they wanted. And lucky enough, Glynis, my sweet, it was your packets of cigarettes I had in my bag that stopped me going and buying duty free. And I was very close to picking up a carton and taking, but I'm like, you know what, let's just fucking wait till I get to Mexico, where cigarettes are cheaper. But as I said, guys, once the border control were there and I sort of walked through and I got onto the aeroplane, even before it took off, I'm like, they're going to come on and drag me off. I've seen it happen, and I know the drill. They're going to come on and get me off the plane. But the minute it got into the air, it hit me. The tears, the shake, God, even now. But here I am. And you know what else? This is fucking Mexico, people. Even though I haven't got an ashtray anywhere, you can smoke inside. I should probably use my bottle. But as I said, guys, I've escaped from Toronto. We're not in Canada anymore. We are in Mexico. We are in Cancun. Funny enough, I did do a very little bit of recording when I first got here, just to sort of show you my first minutes of arriving here. I had issues with my microphone, so that footage, unfortunately, is unusable. But tomorrow, all being well, once I've had a little bit of rest, I'm going to get out, do some exploring. We will be doing some out and about summer 2021 videos, just not in Canada. Hopefully you enjoy the tropical scenery a lot more. Weed, I think, is legal medicinally here. I did ask a couple of kids on the side of the street if they knew if they had any marijuana. They knew what I was talking about, but they didn't know where to get any. And I was just walking around and I smelt some. So in the area there is weed. Unfortunately, that is the one thing right now I really could do with more than anything, is some spliff, some marijuana. The tobacco doesn't cut it. But it has, honest to God, I feel the world of difference from the last 24 hours being in the airport. I was in like my worst. That's almost as bad as being in prison. It's like this was literally being in the Death Star. And I flew with Air Canada. Motherfuckers, they have gone all out fascist, National Socialist Party official airline. the stewardesses once upon a time used to be quite nice and friendly. Oh, hey, would you like a drink? But they were like the fucking Gestapo. And there was this evil bitch that was on the you know, when you get your boarding pass in like, honest to God, it was like she was picking out, you go to the shower, you go and dig a grave kind of thing. And it really wasn't the experience I've ever had in the past of being on a plane going to the airport, where, you know, usually the staff and that try to sort of make you feel a little bit relaxed, a little bit calm. Not at all. It really, really was like a police state. It really isn't a bad place to be shouting at clouds. Believe it or not, Cancun is one of the cheapest places on earth to live. And many people kind of just look at the, you know, the beautiful, expensive hotels and shit here. But I'm away from all of that. I'm not near downtown. I'm not near the vacation or touristy bit. I really am in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you can really see this. It is dark. This room cost me $15 a night. It's as cheap for me to stay here as it was in Roger's basement up in Toronto. Actually, it's cheaper for me to live here. We've got a little twin bed set up here. I'll give you a little look. Sorry, there's some dirty underwear hanging on the door. So I've got a little bathroom. Look at my shower. That actually works, not like the shower that I had at home. Nice, clean, simple bathroom. But this is all this really is all I need, guys. You know, I'm gonna be sitting outside all the time. I've got a pool right there. You know, in the morning I'm gonna get up, go and jump in the swimming pool. And I got palm trees. Coconuts are literally full. I could go and get a coconut right now, although I haven't got any tools. But you know, I had to leave all my bug out bags, all my preps, everything. I don't know if you can see those two, but that's my life. That is everything I could carry with me. I stuck everything into those two bags, and that is literally all I come with here with. And a fistful of dollars, funny enough. And as I said, it isn't a vacation. This is a survival mood for me. What I would have paid for 1 month up in Canada there, and then sort of with groceries in sort of smokes and stuff like that, I wouldn't have had much change from $1,000, but here I can live for the rest of the year on that $1,000. I've looked quickly at a couple of rentals. I can get a similar sort of studio and setup for this for about $100 a week in a nice area. So it is all about the survival. It is all about, you know, the cost of living. I am sort of expecting some inheritance and money from my father's death in the coming months. I mean, that's been dragging out for nearly a year, and that's sort of why I was sitting out in Toronto for as long as I was, waiting for that cash to come in so that I could sort of change my living situations. And I was told originally it was going to be like March or May, so I kind of allowed May at the latest. So really, and since May turned around in Toronto, sort of survival mode went into sort of uber survival mode. There were days when literally I was picking tobacco out of the carpet and rolling it in a pit of notepaper, because I couldn't even afford to go and buy a pack of smokes, and I couldn't even afford to buy Rizzler papers. And it is also very, very hard when you live with somebody who is delusionally batshit crazy. Roger was my ultimate stress factor in all of this. Fuck COVID, fuck illegal immigration, fuck all of that. Roger, my old landlord stroke roommate, this guy was fucking batshit crazy and the tightest motherfucker you ever could imagine. I'll give you one example. Not long after I first moved in there nearly 3 years ago, I didn't have any rolling papers. I went up, Roger, any chance you'd be so kind as to lend me some rolling papers? I've forgotten. Rolling papers. He handed them over like he was handing $100 bills. Like, how many do you want? 2, 3? I said, is there any chance I can get like 5? He's like, 5 papers? Anyway, the next fucking day, I come back from the store, went and got some cigarettes and some rolling papers of my own. motherfucker asked me, don't forget, you have to replace those 5 rolling papers. What person asks for 5 rolling papers to be replaced? On my birthday, I ran out of coffee, right? Because I was getting ready to leave. I didn't want to buy any groceries, so I did run out of coffee. I had to trade cigarettes for a cup of coffee from this guy, and he knew I had no work. He knew the basement I was living in, you couldn't like legally rent it, so it was all off the books. It was all cash in his pocket. And the guy didn't even say, look, I understand your situation, pay me what you can pay me, sort of thing. But no help, no assistance. And funny enough, I did ask a couple of my buddies from the soccer crew that I was part of up there if they would be able to give me a ride to the airport, and no one sort of really did want to help at the end. So as I said, guys, it was a very sort of lone wolf, get myself out, rely on myself, and it would have been, I don't know if it would have been more stressful or less stressful having a companion or a travel buddy, but I did it. I'm here now. I haven't got to worry about, as I said, batshit crazy landlords. I haven't got to worry about sort of, again, the beauty of being here. I'm now legal. I can be here for 6 months, and there are ways that are pretty easy to extend and get a temporary residency for 4 years, and hopefully I'll be able to get some sort of medical assistance if need be. But the world, as I said, for me in the last 24, 36 hours is changed dramatically. It is life-changing. They say life begins at 40. Still waiting for that to happen. Here I am 10 years later, restarting my 50s in a new location in the tropics, somewhere I've always sort of longed to be. So let me come see what you guys are saying. I really need a spliff. In the chat, yeah, he kind of was a slumlord that thought he was like actually legitimately thought he was on the level with like Donald Trump. He thought he was a Rockefeller. He didn't think that Stephen Hawkins was that intelligent. Not many people understood Stephen Hawkins, but Roger did. In the same week, he told me that when he was a reservist for the Canadian military, he trained the Special Forces snipers because he was the best shot in the Canadian military, and all the snipers used to come to him to add true stories. They're not true, they're actually true stories he told me. None of it's real. But that was one of the stories he told me in the same week. And a couple of days later, funny enough, when he was talking about Stephen Hawkins, went on to say my intelligence is ridiculed. People make fun of me because I'm so intelligent, and not many people know this, but Mensa keep calling me and asking me to join us. I don't think that's how Mensa works. But this is an individual that sits in his bed and lying literally in his blanket covered with his own ejaculate, jerking off to fucking Instagram models each and every day that supposedly can train military snipers. He's Mensa smart. Not only that, he could also run the 100 meters in 13 seconds. I'm like, if you can do all of these things, why are you just lying around in bed? Why aren't you, training athletes? Why aren't you conducting some seminars at Harvard and Yale if you're that smart? Really, why are you wasting all of this if you have all these abilities just lying in your own ejaculate? Not since I've known him, and I think it was like 10 years since he had his last girlfriend, Elmel. And this is one of the more disgusting things about the individual. He was so cheap, he wouldn't wash. I'm not using 2 cents worth of soap when I can just wait a week. And literally would not wash for weeks and weeks and weeks. And sometimes, like, the smell of BO, and like, you guys and girls, I'm sure, know what ejaculate smells like. And when you're living with somebody who kind of smells of ejaculate and body odor, and is very, very delusional, that kind of, it disrupts your environment. In the last sort of winter, I was in solitary confinement. Literally, I had no job, I had nowhere to go, no income to go and sort of kill any time doing something out and about. So I was stuck in for nearly 8 months with nothing but that guy for company. How the fuck I didn't kill him, how the fuck I stayed sane, I really don't know. And again, that was another one of the sort of survival factors. It's like, I can't live with this guy much longer, not sort of, you know, when I'm struggling with money and all this guy wants is money, 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 greed, greed. This is an individual that lives in a $2 million home in a very, very nice area of Toronto that goes up and down the street on trash day and picks bottles out of the garbage and stores them in the back of the basement where I was living. Not to trade them in, he just like saves them because they're worth money. Now again, saving bottles, doing a little bit of recycling is very smart if you're down in a low income. But when you know you've got properties and you consider yourself to be a multi-millionaire, not exactly sort of normal behavioural patterns. Hopefully, Mel, it is all changed for the good. Literally, like once I walked out of the airport, ripped off my masks, it's set in, and I've sort of been walking around very much on a dopamine high since I got here. I did have a little explore. There's a whole bunch of like stray dogs that followed me around for a little bit. Stray cats, maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but I really now, I mean, there are lots of developed parts in developed. I haven't got that kind of cluster of the city. You know, in Toronto is a toilet, it is an agenda.